At 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, Keisha sat in her car in her driveway. She'd been home for 20 minutes. But she couldn't go inside yet. Because if she walked through that door, her partner would ask, "How was your day?" And Keisha didn't have the energy to explain. How do you explain that 3 people on your team are job searching because of decisions you didn't make? How do you explain that you spent 4 hours absorbing your team's panic about another vague reorganization email? How do you explain that you're holding it together for 12 people when you're barely holding it together for yourself? Let's be honest. If you're a leader right now, you're doing 2 jobs. You're leading your team. And you're quietly holding the entire organization together. You're absorbing the uncertainty. You're translating the chaos. You're protecting your people from decisions you didn't make. And none of that emotional labor is on your job description. But it's the reason your team is still standing. Keisha told me, "I used to lead. Now I feel like I'm just managing panic." And she's not wrong. Leadership used to be about strategy, planning, and execution. Now, it's about emotional labor. It's about being the shock absorber for unclear direction. Shifting priorities. AI disruption. Budget cuts. Burnout. And the quiet panic no one wants to admit. You're not just managing tasks. You're managing fear. Here's what Keisha's Tuesday actually looked like. 9 a.m. Her director sent a vague email about upcoming changes. Her team immediately panicked. Keisha spent an hour calming people down when she had no more information than they did. 11 a.m. One of her top performers came to her crying. Daycare fell through. Again. Keisha rearranged the project timeline and took on extra work so her employee could leave early. 2 p.m. Another all-hands meeting with no real answers. Keisha watched her team's faces shut down. 4 p.m. 3 separate one-on-ones where people asked, "Am I going to be laid off?" Keisha doesn't know. But she can't say that. So she says, "I'll keep you updated as soon as I know anything." You're the one who notices when morale dips. You're the one who checks in when someone goes quiet. You're the one who absorbs the frustration your team can't express upward. You're the one who stays calm when leadership sends another vague email. You're the one who translates confusion into clarity. And the hardest part? No one is doing that for you. By the time Keisha got to her car that night, she was done. Not tired, done. Done. She thought, "I can't keep doing this. Something has to change." Leaders burn out faster than their teams not because they're weak, but because they're carrying everyone's emotional weight. When you're the one holding the team together, you don't get to fall apart. You don't get to panic. You don't get to shut down. You don't get to disappear. And that pressure is unsustainable. Here's what Keisha didn't say to anyone: she felt guilty. Guilty for struggling. Guilty for needing support. Guilty for even thinking about her own capacity when her team was suffering. She thought, "I'm the leader. I'm supposed to handle this. If I can't, what does that say about me?" If that's you right now, if you feel guilty for struggling, hear me clearly: you are human. You are allowed to have limits. You are allowed to need support. You are allowed to say, "I cannot carry this alone." That's not weakness. That's reality. How Keisha started protecting herself. 5 shifts that saved her. Shift 1. She named the reality. The next day, Keisha started her team meeting differently. Instead of pretending everything was fine, she said, "I know the vague communication from leadership is stressful. It's stressful for me too. Here's what we know. Here's what we don't know. Here's what we're focusing on today. Your team doesn't need perfection. They need honesty. When you name the reality, you stop pretending. And pretending is what exhausts you. Shift 2. She set emotional boundaries. Keisha also realized she was absorbing every emotion her team had. Someone was anxious. Keisha held it. Someone was angry. Keisha held it. Someone was scared. Keisha held it. She started saying, "I hear you. That sounds really hard. Let's focus on what we can control." You can support your team without absorbing their stress. Boundaries aren't walls. Boundaries are filters. Shift 3. She protected her own capacity. Keisha also looked at her calendar. She was available from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. No thinking time. No recovery time. Just back-to-back emotional labor. She started blocking 1 hour every morning for strategic thinking. No meetings. No Slack. No Slack notifications after 6 p.m. And she told her team, "Unless it's an emergency, I'll respond in the morning." You can't pour from an empty nervous system. Protecting your capacity isn't selfish. It's survival. Shift 4. She built predictability. Even though the organization was chaotic, Keisha made sure her team had predictability. Same one-on-one time every week, same day for priority updates. Same format for team syncs. Predictability equals safety. Even if the broader organization is falling apart, your team can still feel grounded if you create rhythm. Shift 5. She asked for support. Finally, Keisha did the hardest thing. She asked for help. She told her manager, "I'm absorbing a lot of anxiety from the team. I need more context on the upcoming changes so I can lead with clarity." And she reached out to another leader in the org, someone going through the same thing, and they started checking in weekly. Leaders deserve support too. You're not superhuman. Asking for help / isn't admitting defeat. It's leading yourself the way you lead your team. 3 months later, Keisha was still tired. The organization was still chaotic. Leadership was still sending vague emails. Her team was still anxious. But something had shifted. Keisha told me, "I realized I can't fix the whole company. I can only protect my corner of it." You are responsible for your team. You are responsible for your leadership. You are responsible for your integrity. But you are not responsible for fixing the entire organization. You can influence the culture you touch. You can protect the people you lead. You can create clarity in your corner of the world. And sometimes, that's enough. Now, some of you watching this are thinking, "It's too late. I'm already burned out. I'm already past the point of no return." If that's you, first, I see you. Second, you have options. You can take medical leave. Burnout is a health issue, not a performance issue. You can ask for a reduced scope or a temporary shift in responsibilities. You can leave. Not forever, but long enough to recover. If staying is harming your health, your relationships, or your sense of self, you are allowed to choose you. That's not abandoning your team. That's modeling what it looks like to honor your limits. Keisha doesn't sit in her car anymore. Not because everything is fixed, but because she learned how to hold her team without losing herself. You may not get credit for the emotional labor you do. You may not get recognized for the stability you provide. You may not get rewarded for the chaos you absorb. But your team feels it. Your team knows it. Your team is standing because of you. And that makes you the kind of leader this new world of work desperately needs. Subscribe for more content like this, content that helps you lead with humanity in systems that don't always support it. And tell me in the comments. What's the hardest part of leading right now? I'm reading every single one. You're not a line item. You're the talent.